Today we're going to be looking at the sentence final ending, 도다. And this form is used to express exclamation. In modern Korean, with the different forms, 씁니다, and also 요 form, its exclamation is expressed through intonation and also through the 네 ending, like 좋네, 좋네요. You can also add 요. But what was interesting in 18th century, in pre-contemporary Korean, there's quite a set of these endings, and they're used at the end of the sentence. So let's look at some examples. So this chart is used to reflect 18th century Korean or pre-modern Korean. And the non-retrospective means it's not looking back, so it's kind of the present or the future. And this is the retrospective, is looking back on a certain event. And in that, it's further divided into non-conjectural, like a statement, and then also conjectural, which is either something that could happen or will happen. And as I mentioned in the previous video, there are only two styles. There's a plain style and a polite style. So the plain style includes quite a few different functions. You have the written, you have the self-speech, and you also have one-to-one, I guess, in the kind of sort of same status, and you also have kind of one-to-one where it's like you're talking, not talking down, but where you are of a higher status and you're talking to someone of a lower status. And so in polite speech, it's a person talking to somebody else in a higher status position. So here, so for the exclamation ending, you have 도다 for the plain style, non-conjecture. And then you have 이로다 for conjectural. And then you have for the polite ending form, you have 로소이다. And this is the form used in the Bible. Form. And then there are also a lot of other forms like 로소이다. And then for future, you have 로소이다. And then you have also other forms like this is 로소이다. So there are a lot of variations, and and then they didn't have any kind of looking back on any of these endings. So these were specifically non-retrospective, which kind of makes sense. You're exclaiming about something that is happening right now. And so, and this is also a little bit different. So it's not that you can't exclaim about something that's happened in the past. So this is more often used as a narrator voice. And this is often used for a speaker voice. And so later I'll get into how the past tense is used, and it's a little bit different and has certain nuances. So let's look at some examples of how these endings are used in the Bible. So I've taken 4 examples for each of the endings, and the first 2 is from Psalm 27. So in the first verse, it says, 나의 원수들인 그들은 실족하여 넘어졌도다. So you also see that there's a past tense here. So here it's exclaiming that my enemies are the one who will fall. And then in the next verse, 전쟁이 일어나 나를 치료할지라도 나는 여전히 태어나리로다. So this is about the future. It says even if war wages against me, I will be at peace, or I'll be calm. And so these are the plain style, partly because it's like talking to self, and also kind of like a prayer. And then in the next two, it's the honorific form. And so there are people talking to Jesus. And so and this one is from Mark, verse 12, chapter 12, verse 32. Jesus asked a question about the greatest commandment, and he answered. And so this is the response. 서기관이 이르되 선생님이여 옳소이다. So this is the ending here. So he's saying that you are right. So that there's exclamation, but he's speaking to a teacher or to Jesus here. So it is in the polite form or in the honorific form. And then the last example is from John 4. It's the woman, Samaritan woman at the well, and they're talking back and forth, and she realizes that Jesus is a prophet. So this is what the verse says. 여자가 이르되 주여 내가 보니 선지자로소이다. So this is the future form. It's saying it's her conjecture that she thinks, or that it seems or appears that she is a prophet. And so she's also shouting, not shouting, but exclaiming this, and also it is an honorific. So these are how the four forms are used. So lastly, we'll take a look at the different translations and how they're different. So we'll look at the 로소이다, where the person says that Jesus is right, and then we'll see that in the other translation, it is there is no specific exclamation tag, but rather that it is uses the formal ending, the 씁니다 ending, and is rather probably inflected. So and so instead of saying 옳소이다, it says 선생님 옳은 말씀입니다, so that your speech is correct. So this is a little bit of how the translations are different. And actually, personally, I think I actually quite enjoy these exclamation verb endings, because it really brings a certain quality and character from the text that is a little bit different, that you don't immediately see. You have to kind of inflect it or infer it from the reading of the standard Korean version compared to the revised Korean version. So I hope this is helpful as you study Korean, and thanks for watching.